start again. It's a redskin.
In this session, we are going to learn different methods that can be applied on string data. These methods are very useful while solving problems related to string using Python programming language. For example, here we have a string Python is fun. Now I have written some lines of code which is responsible for printing the number of occurrence of the alphabet n within this string. Now here n has occurred 2 times. So if I run this code, then it will print 2. So it is showing 2. We can do all these things by using inbuilt method in one line. So what do we need to do? We need to use the count method. To do that, first write the string name, that is a, and then use dot and then write count, and within parentheses you need to pass the required alphabet, that is in our case it is n, and then it will return the number. So you can store it in another variable b, or you can directly print it. So here I am going to print it directly. So this is our answer. So our second method is capitalize. It will return a string where the first character is in uppercase and rest are in lowercase. For example, we have a string like this, Python. Now if I use capitalize method on this string, to do that we need to write the string name a and then dot and then write capitalize. Now note that we need not to write anything within this parenthesis. Now if I press enter, here the first letter is in uppercase and rest are in lowercase. Now don't think that the actual value of a has changed after application of this method, because the value of a still remains same. You can check it by using the print statement. Now note that the value of a still remains same. If you need to work with this value, then you need to store it in another variable like b equals to a dot capitalize, and now you can use this new string with this variable name. And this concept is also applicable for all the methods. So our next method is upper. For example, we have a string like p equals to programming. Now if I use this upper method on this string, then it will change all the characters in uppercase, like p dot upper, and here also we need not to pass anything within this parenthesis. So here all the alphabet are in uppercase. Similarly, we have another method called lower, which convert all the character in lowercase. For example, we have a string like a equals to Python. Now if I use lower on this string like a dot lower, so note that here all the characters are in lowercase. So our next method is swapcase, which will return the string where all the uppercase are in lowercase and vice versa. For example, we have a string like this, and if we use swapcase on this string like a dot swapcase, now note that here p is in uppercase, but here p is in lowercase. Our next method is center. This method is basically used to align the string. If I print a string, then by default it is aligned at left side, that is like this way. But if you try to align it in the middle, then you can use this method. So you need to write the string name, that is a, and within parentheses you need to pass the length. Here I am passing 75, and now if I press enter, now it has aligned at the middle. You can change the length by changing this value. Note that this extra length is basically filled with blank spaces, but you can change it by any string value. To do that, we need to pass another parameter in this parenthesis. For example, a dot center, and within parentheses first pass the length, that is 75, then pass the string. Here I am going to fill these blank spaces with 0, so here I need to pass 0. Now if I press enter, now note that these blank spaces are filled with 0. So our next method is find. If you want to find the index of a substring, or more precisely the starting index of a first occurrence of the substring, then you can use this method. For example, I have a string like b equals to programming. So here I want to find the index of the first occurrence of m. So we can use find method like b dot find, and within parentheses we need to pass the character that is m. Now if I press enter, now note that the first occurrence of m has at index 6. So our next method is index. This method is exactly similar to find method. The only difference is whenever the specified string is not present in this string, then it will print -1. But index method raise an error if the substring is not present in the original string. Like we have a string like a equals to Python is fun. Now here we don't have the word programming. So if I use index method on this string like a.index, and then I want to find programming within this string, but we don't have the programming word in this string, so it will going to raise an error like this, substring not found. Our next method is endswith. This method returns whether a string ends with a specific character or not. Like we have a string a equals to Python is fun. Now if I want to know whether this string is ends with fun or not, then we need to write a dot ends with, and within parentheses we need to pass the word that is fun. So here it is ends with fun, so it will print true like this. Similarly, we have another method that is startswith, which will return whether a string is start with a specific character or not. For example, in this string it start with Python. Now if I want to check whether this string is start with Python or not, then we need to write a, then dot starts with, and then within parentheses we need to pass Python in our case. So it is true. So our next method is length. It will return the length of the string or the number of characters present in the string. For example, here we have a string Python. Now if I want to check how many characters are there in this string, then we need to write length, and then within parentheses we need to pass the name of the string, that is a. So here we have 6 characters. Next is replace. If you want to replace a portion of a string with a new value, then you can use this method. For example, here I want to change this m into o. So we need to write b dot replace, and within parentheses we need to first pass the old value, that is m, and then we need to pass the new value, that is o. Now if I press enter, so it is showing the updated value. So our next method is title. It will return the updated string where the first alphabet of each words are in uppercase. So here I have a string Python programming. Now if I use title method like b dot title, now note that this p and this p are in uppercase. So our next method is strip method. It will return the trimmed version of a string. For example, we have a string like this where we have some unwanted space in both the side of string. Then we can use this method like a.strip, like this. So this is our output. Here you can also trim only the left side or the right side. To do that, you need to use lstrip to trim only the left side, and you can use rstrip to trim only the right side. For example, if I write a.lstrip, then it will trim only the left portion like this. So this is all for this video. In our next video we will learn rest of the string methods.